Yes. Okay, now are we back to our screen again, Michelle?
Yes, we are.
We
So
are. Okay.
basically, Kevin, did you catch hold of that?
Yeah,
I followed
I'm
you.
a little lost, but I think I'm gonna find it.
Okay, the main thing you have to do is on your computer in your pictures folder, you have to put a picture of you.
Right.
You have to install a picture of you that you want to be there.
Okay. Okay. Welcome everybody. We're talking about how to put a background on a Zoom call. So, hello. Thank you. Wait a minute. I've started recording. This is going to be recorded. Lisa, welcome. Mary, Lynette. Hey. Now, is anyone here? I'm here, Mr. Rourke. I think there's Mr. Rourke. 865. Is anybody here? Because it's fairly new.
Lynette, hi. This is Michelle.
How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I was just thinking about you.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, I didn't know which microphone is working right now, so.
Well, it's working. I can hear you fine.
Okay, good. I won't shout at you anymore then.
Well,
how's everybody doing?
Doing good. Freezing cold.
Boy, look at all these people.
45 degrees. Now,
you have 45? I have 26.
Oh my goodness.
Mr. Rourke, I asked a question. Are you new or old? Have you been around?
Oh.
Well, welcome. I'm so glad somebody new joined, because the rest of these people are facing, except for Lisa. I know these people.
This is my first time, so I've not even recorded anything yet.
Well, welcome. Well, do you have any questions?
Well, I'll see as we go along. I've been looking at the forum, and I'll just listen for a while, and then I'll see if I have any questions.
Excellent, excellent.
I've got a friend who's joined.
Nice.
Oh, lucky you.
Yeah, there she is. Hi, Chris. That Chris McMillan. We worked together years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, so good to see you, Mary.
Hi, Chris. It's been a while.
A long time.
Yeah.
Gee. Now, let me see. I know we're calling from different places around the world, mostly United States, I'm assuming. Maybe an Australian here? No? It don't matter. We're here to talk about LibriVox.
Phil and I are both from Baton Rouge. And
Yeah,
Phil
we're
got
here
me
in Louisiana.
Many years ago.
Many years ago, many wonderful years. My purpose of this is a vague idea in the back of my mind that we may want to have a forum to ask questions about. When I registered, this was confusing, or share. This was a difficult spot for me, or this 1 minute test thing is doesn't make sense. Whatever questions like that. It may be a time for us old timers and the new people just to share what's going on with ourselves. So I'm going to open up the board for whatever anybody wants to talk about right now.
I'll just say one thing that I started to do.
Sure.
And I've gotten a few hits on that, is when I'm VCing a project and a new recorder comes along, I will offer to, like with their first recording, and they'll say, well, I'm just not sure about the editing part. I offer to do a Zoom session with them and show them how to set up Audacity for easy recording.
Nice.
Remember all those keystrokes, Phil, that you taught me years ago?
Yes, those wonderful.
Audacity does not come with those keys.
What do you mean?
That way.
You're talking about the quick
The
strokes,
quick keys,
quick
yes.
keys.
So I do a little tutorial on that. Anybody that wants that, I can help them with that. And also, there's 100 different ways people edit, but I can share how I edit. So,
Okay. Does it you find a response? People say, "Oh yeah, let's
well,
talk on
I've only started doing it, and I've gotten 2 responses. So
well, that's fabulous.
So far, good.
Bill raised his finger.
Oh, I was one of those that asked an editing question of Michelle and got a nice quick response.
Mm-hmm. So it's like hands-on, it's right quick.
Hey, Lynn, are you Lynn T?
No, she and I cross paths a lot, but I am L. Calkins.
Okay.
So
Where's Lynn? Oh, okay. I'll record
And
it.
you
so-
are DPLing the letters of Helen Keller, right?
I am.
And
Yes.
that's me. And I'm the,
Yes.
so we are working together.
I'm
just
really
all
enjoying that.
together. Wait till you hear letter 6. They're gonna blow your mind.
Cool.
They're just-
Okay, Chris McMillan and Lisa and Mr. Walker, since apparently you haven't recorded any sections yet. You have not.
No.
Okay. Do you know the terminology that we use when say I'm the BC, the MC, the section and things like that? Have y'all become familiar with that? Is that
A little
confusing at
bit.
all?
I've been looking on the forum, but I'm not super familiar, but I've been looking on the forum and learning some of those things.
Okay.
Yeah, I read some or listened and watched some of the audios and visuals, and it's not second nature yet, but I'm becoming more familiar.
Okay.
A BC is a person who starts a project, is that right?
Correct.
Yes.
They're
The
based.
BC is the person who's cruising around the internet all day long saying, what can I record? Oh my God. Then you read one book and it says, it quotes another book. So you jump over to that book and you read some of that and you go, oh my God, we got to do that one too. And pretty soon the list is like gets longer and longer. There's no way you'll ever get to the end of it.
What does BC stand for?
Book coordinator.
Oh, book coordinator, sure.
They're the mother of that book. They husband it, or that's ironic, isn't it? Through the whole process. They started, they set it up. They're the mother and they husband it. Yes. Of course, husband means different things. Anyway, so they take care of the book all through the process. Yes, Michelle. I can't hear you. I can't, Michelle, you're inaudible.
Her mic is off.
Her mic is off. I don't,
Mm,
Do you think we made funny
Uh-oh.
gestures? She'd hear us.
no, she couldn't.
Notice this.
Well, we talking about BC. Well, she knows something's wrong. The next jargon that we use a lot, of course, is the forum. We have a lot of different forums. In other words, there's like what 16, 17 different forums. In fact, we got a new one called the 1 Minute Test Forum. Each of those is a
That's nice.
link, is a thread. I don't know the proper word is, where everything goes into that particular thread. Like, for example, the forum of Readers Wanted is for books that people want readers. And the BC sitting there waiting for you to come along and say, oh, I want to claim section 12, How I Met Your Mother or something like that. The MC, you ever seen the phrase, the MC? The meta coordinator, which is the kind of administrator behind the scenes that sets up things and doesn't really do much work, just sets things up. The
I think
BC
you
does
guys
all
do
the
a
work.
lot of work.
Well,
We're always bugging you. I need a new reader page name for this person. I need a note. Can you give me a section 0 that I forgot to ask for?
oh well, yeah, they do a lot of work, but they help take care of the stuff behind the scenes because we work with a bulletin board, PHP. I don't know. Whatever. So those are the two words. Another word is admin or something, but the MC, the BC, and the DPL. Have any of y'all done any DPLing?
DPL?
Who's
A
making
dedicated proof listener? Is
who's
that what
making
that
that crunchy noise? Is that
is? It's Michelle.
Michelle.
Michelle? Is
Myself,
crunching?
I'm sorry. I'm gonna mute myself. I forgot.
Is it good?
I hope she brought enough for everybody.
Ooh,
Ooh, yummy.
pretzel with
Yes,
chocolate on them.
chocolate
Oh my
pretzel.
gosh.
That would be good.
Okay, well, DPL is dedicated proof listener. Is obviously Lisa and Chris, you haven't done any proof listening yet.
No.
Okay, you'll get used to that thing because when I first started, my mind went automatic to proof editing, but we use proof listening to go to listen to books, to sections after they're uploaded, and then give feedback and say, well, it was pretty good, except to where you screamed, close the door at 1 minute and 12 seconds, or close the blank door, whatever. Please go back and remove that. So we really rely on proof listeners to get every project through. What are we? We have 10 participants.
Hey.
Am I?
Chris has a
On.
question.
Oh, I have a question.
Wait a minute. Oh, Rich wanted to come in. Okay, go ahead, Chris.
Is it, would you recommend starting as a listener or as a reader?
Kind of
Well,
a toss-up.
That's a
Can I
toss-up.
share?
That is.
When I started, first I did a couple of recordings and then I wondered what it was like proof listening. So I tried that out and I found that my greatest improvement in my recordings came from proof listening other people's recordings, because it just exposed me to a lot of different styles of reading and recording problems that people had. And it made me realize I had some problems I didn't realize I had in my recordings. Because as proof listeners, unless somebody specifically asks us to be to give us a lot of input on stuff, proof listeners aren't going to tell you the nitpicky things. They're just going to tell you, because LibriVox policy is, as a proof listener, I'm going to tell you the ending needs to be fixed because it wasn't the right section number that you read it. You had a 10-second pause in the middle of your recording, but unless you specifically ask for it, I'm not going to tell you stuff like, well, your breathing was super heavy the whole way through, or because that's just a personal thing. And we don't generally get that feedback unless we specifically ask for it. So you'll hear a lot of different styles from your own if you do some proof listening, and it will improve your own recording.
Thank you.
Yes. Now, one thing that proof listening, when I started, I did proof listening for a few and then I recorded. One thing was it really upped my game on editing. In other words, when I would proof listening and I'd see people, with things in there that they really should have taken out before they uploaded it, because when you upload a file, it should be ready to publish. But I mean, it made me focus a lot more on, well, I want to get mine a little bit better and remove all these crackles and bumps and long pauses and things before I send it up. So it helped me there. So the toss up, whichever one you want to do. We're a free community here, pretty much.
And so if you want to be critiqued, if you'd really like to be critiqued, you can put a CC after your name, after your signature, at the bottom of your signature, which says crits, which means crits comments welcome. That's somewhere in one of our wikis. It
Really?
tells you that you can do
I
that.
never heard of
I
that.
didn't know that.
Mhm.
You can
So
also
you-
just ask when you post your.
Yeah, you can ask, but you can also do the shortcut and just say CC,
No.
meaning you welcome critique of your work. Because I can tell you in my sad story that I have repeated over and over.
Sure. I'll take care of it. Okay, honey. All right, you go back to bed, baby. Okay.
I mean, I have repeated this so often, it's just pathetic. But the first thing, I mean, I'm an overdoer of everything. And so the first thing I decided to record, my first solo was 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, unabridged by Jules Verne,
I remember
I
that.
loved listening to that.
And I did the whole book, and I did a fantastic job, I think. However, I read as though there was a freight train after me. I was read so damn fast. I mean, if only my proof listener had said, why do you read so fast? I can't listen as fast as you're reading. Of course, now we are taught that it's just personal preference, right? That the DPL should not make such comments because
That's
some
right.
people like fast reading. But I personally would have loved to have heard, could you slow down a little bit?
So
And I when I proof listen, some people today, like Lynn, okay, like Victoria.
What did I do?
No, you know how Victoria reads so beautifully?
Mhm.
Okay, well, I DPL'd her first book and she read like a freight train was running after her. And I just couldn't bear it.
I think most of us do
I
that.
told her that and she said, oh, thank you so much. And she just slowed her tempo down and now it's perfect.
Hmm.
Okay, but she could have done the whole book so
Mhm.
fast that it would have lost the childishness,
Yeah.
the beauty of it. So while we hinder our DPLs, because we certainly don't want to frighten our readers, we don't want to crush their delicate egos. At the same time, we produce some stuff that could be better. If only we would.
We produce wonderful
If we
stuff.
could say so.
I want to reiterate what we're talking about here. It's very, very good point especially for newer people, that we walk that line of being welcoming to everybody, to want everybody to come in. Our criteria for actual reading causes a lot of problems sometimes, but is that if it's understandable by a native speaker, then it's okay. And though we don't, I could say, criticize accents, pronunciations, on the other hand, we want I certainly want the recordings that we put out there to be listenable to be fun. So
Yeah.
that balance is difficult. This is why it's important for new readers please give me like she said, please give me feedback. If you ask for feedback, you will get some good feedback. It's not going to be nasty, but it'll be good feedback, and it can help us a lot. So if you don't ask, you can read like a freight train chasing you, and you won't have any idea because you think it sounds okay, but it's not. So ask for feedback, unless you really don't want feedback. So speaking of pronunciations, I just recorded a play by Aristophanes, one of them old Greek guy. He's dead, I believe. I think it's in public domain. And I picked up a proof listener. Normally, nobody reads Greek. And this proof listener was wonderful. And she would give me, come to find out, she's Greek. She knows the language. She knows the culture. She knows these plays back and forth. I mean, it kind of shocked me because I don't know, And so I asked her, I said, please tell me how to pronounce. And so she said, well, I didn't want to bother you, Phil, but okay, I will tell you, this Greek god is not pronounced that way. So I went back and fixed it. So sometimes it's good to ask. But I just lucked into somebody that, or maybe
That's great.
I was
Another thing you can do that I'm reading. I love James Stevens, he reads Irish. He writes Irish fairy tales, and he has all the Irish gods and goddesses in there. And I made the big mistake. The pronunciation is not phonetic. So I made the mistake of recording like 2 whole chapters before I went to the internet to get the pronunciation guide on how you pronounce Fionn, which I was pronouncing Fionn, and come to find out it's pronounced Finn. So I had to go back to both of those first 2 chapters, and his name was pronounced like every other sentence, and I had to redo the whole thing. So it's good if you have a document that you're recording that has, strange words, especially if they're proper nouns, places, that you do your internet. You can just go pronounce. Go to any browser and hit pronounce Fionn, and it'll come up with a page with several pronunciation pages that will tell you how to pronounce it correctly.
Yeah, we're blessed with a lot of online help. I want to get off this topic and ask the new readers. Oh, by the way, welcome, Rich. I see you sitting there. Hey, man. What are y'all interested in reading? Y'all have any particular, like Mr. Rourke? Interesting name. Do you have any genres you're interested in pursuing?
So personally for me, I mean, I love historical fiction, science fiction. That kind of stuff interests me. I read one chapter for the Bolshevik myth. It's a Russian, it's a fictional memoir. And that's Russian history interests me. So that I was drawn to that one specifically.
Okay. And
Talk
Lisa?
about pronunciation exercises.
So it was, and I asked for criticism after my first chapter and got good. I don't remember who it was that gave me the feedback. But I got good feedback on all of it,
Chomsky.
on the technical
Chomsky
aspect of
helped
reporting
us.
and
Yeah.
and pronunciations. So it was very helpful.
Okay.
Because
Excellent.
it's in that book, it's in the setting of the chapter that I read, it was, it's written by a Russian, but the setting is in the Ukraine, and there are people
I gotta
of
go for a minute. Yeah, keep talking.
Brazilian and Germanic descent. So
Mhm.
like guessing what the origin of the word and who's speaking it
Right.
was a lot of fun. And I just went to Google Translate and put words in and had Google Translate pronounce the word in different languages. So I was like,
Wow.
pronounce
Oh,
it in
wow.
Ukrainian and pronounce it in Russian, and the exact same word is pronounced very differently.
Google Translate. That's
Yeah.
good. That's a good tip.
So that was
And
fun.
and sometimes if you're a BC, for example, and you are you know that you're going to have different readers for a group project, you might put in your first post how to pronounce how you would like these words to be pronounced. So as a reader, when you read the first post to get all your instructions, that's one of the things you might look for is how does this BC want this pronounced? And then everybody that, in other words, then the whole book can pronounce. Like I did a Harriet Beecher Stowe's Dread, and the lead character, her name was Nina. Well, is that pronounced Nina or is that pronounced Nina? So since I had multiple readers and each one was going to pronounce it how they pleased, I just put a guide right there. I said, please pronounce it Nina, and Nina. So everybody throughout the whole book read Nina's part. So little things like that can help you with your pronunciation. The BCs can help you with your
Yes.
pronunciation if they want to. Most of them don't.
Can I ask if that happens where you have different readers and they use different pronunciations, or even within one reader, there's different, you pronounce something wrong. You don't have to re-record the
Okay,
whole
I'm
section, do
back.
you?
Oh, no. You
go
learn
in-
you learn how to, editing is one of those skills you have to learn,
And you
where
just plunk in your voice.
You can just paste in the new
Well,
part that you
if-
make.
Like
You-
if it's one word, you generally don't paste in one word. You feather it in like you do the whole phrase again, and then you cut it in where it matches the best with what was in there before.
You
It's-
get
it's
good
easy
at
to do.
it.
Yeah.
You
Some
get good
people,
at it.
some people can do that easier than others because some people's voices change from hour to hour.
Mine
Right.
changes a lot, so I have to play with it a bit
Yeah.
until I get one that matches well enough that I
Right.
can
I call
then.
it feathering it
And
in.
my tempo changes, so I have to edit tempo usually before I paste in my new section.
Mhm.
And
That's
noise
one
reduction.
reason
You
when I
gotta
do
your noise
pickups.
screening first.
When I'm doing a repair, I will read the sentence before to get my brain into that story
Yeah,
again, so
before you
that the
record.
tempo comes back.
That's
Well,
right.
look, I don't know how we got off on editing, but I was asking, but that's a great topic. We have so much to talk about. I didn't ask Lisa or Chris. Lisa, what would you like to be reading?
Well, I'm new to this. I'm actually going to voiceover school and I'm learning voiceover,
Oh.
and I found this. And so I thought this is a
Excellent.
great way for me to improve and
Definitely.
practice and the editing part and all of that kind of thing. But I think I would like, fiction, stories, mysteries, that kind of thing. Also, I'm looking, I see there like some short works, perhaps not
Mhm.
poetry maybe, or maybe later if I feel like I get better at it. And then like how-to kinds of things. I noticed you've got like cookbooks and things like that. I think that would be interesting to me too.
Okay.
I bet
And-
you'd like something in the dramatic works corner too.
We haven't gotten to that yet, but Chris, I want to be sure. Chris, are you interested in telling us what you'd like to read?
Well, I mean, what I like to read is mystery and suspense and biography, some historical fiction, and I'm much more into science fiction than I used to be, but I'm thinking it's 95 years before something goes in the domain. How
Oh,
much
no.
science fiction was there? No,
There is.
70
No.
years.
70, whatever it is. I thought I read 95 somewhere on.
No.
Now, this is a
depends.
mystery
It
that maybe
depends.
Phil can talk about. Public, everything goes into the public domain at 70 years.
Oh,
If the author renewed his copyright by 1950 something, I read somewhere that like 80% of authors did not do that. So their
Right.
work is in the public domain already.
Hmm.
It doesn't have to be 1926, it could be much later. But I haven't seen a list of those authors. So
You
I
don't need to. You go to Gutenberg and go look in their science fiction bookshelf, and you'll see tons of things that were recorded in 1960, 62, 57. They just didn't renew the copyright. I record a lot of those.
Really?
On the science fiction stuff, a lot of the authors wrote for pulp magazines,
Mhm.
and the magazines didn't renew the copyright. So that's how a lot of science fiction stuff got
Oh, we have
out of copyright renewal.
tremendous. Yeah, there's a lot of great science fiction out there that's it's pulp, okay, but it's some of the good stories. I'm recording one now called Lone Star Planet. Now, imagine a planet that was colonized entirely by Texans.
Oh dear.
Their
By
political,
who?
their
We have
political.
one of those right near you.
I was astounded that when of course this was written back in 1960, but the politicians are open game. How can I put this? If they do something that people don't like, you can kill them.
Awesome.
Anyway, it's a fascinating. Okay, I'm sorry. So there's a lot of stuff. I wanted
Wild,
to
wild,
finally
Phil,
get to,
Phil, remember that we're recording this video.
and what about it?
Careful what you say.
Well,
Lawyer.
it's in the story. It's in the story. I ain't making this up. We do have a state called Texas, don't we? Yes, last I heard. It's a wonderful state. My brother lives there.
Country called Texas.
Uh, now,
They like to say.
A republic. called
some
Texas.
dramatic readings.
Let
Now-
me interrupt just for a moment and say that
Sure.
the general rule, however, is 95 years. Right now, we're able to use recordings that are, or rather, readings that are in 1926 and earlier, but there are exceptions, of course.
So the general
Science
rule
fiction
is
has a lot
95
of
years.
exceptions.
And also different rules may apply if you live outside the US. So
Right.
you have to
Right.
pay
That's a little
attention to your local
confusing.
rules.
Right. Which is why I appreciate Gutenberg for doing the work for me. I don't want to research all that. If they say it's clear, we can record it. Now, dramatic works. We have books and stories and plays that are read as a group. Rich, and it's if you like to act, or you think you used to, or whatever, you can play a part. You can be Tom Corbett, or be this person, and somebody puts together the whole story. Rich, you want to tell us a little bit about that?
I'm working on a Tom Corbett book, and Phil is Tom Corbett. So Phil is 19 years old, and
Hey there.
he's studying math and English literature in the day, and on weekends he goes flying through space in a fully armed warship.
That's me.
And I am trying desperately to get all sorts of accents, because I figure if you're on Venus, you've come from somewhere, but not necessarily from the center of the U.S. So, but most of the major roles are filled up, and I'm starting to edit now. So, and I put a sample chapter up on my web server to try and lure people in, and just have some small roles left over. But it's a new experience for me is trying to herd cats and edit.
What's the most fun part of doing a dramatic? You see, he's a book coordinator for this. What's the most fun part of doing a dramatic reading?
As a reader or a book coordinator?
Book coordinator.
One thing that was great for me is I was listening to chapters as they came, or voices as they came in. And I'm hearing, after the first couple are in, I'm hearing the new reader cut together with the person that I've listened to last week. And I go, oh yeah, that's going to work. Oh, cool. So I don't even have to edit it before I know it's going to be cool.
I love putting them together and seeing how you've, as a book coordinator with my dramatic works, I like to do my own parts DPLing so that I'm familiar with the voices and what different readers are doing with their recordings before I go to do all of my editing work. And I love going from, I'm not sure how this is going to go, to you put it together and it's magic. You just give a little bit of good editing to it and boom, you've got this beautiful production. It's like, you guys sound like almost pros. This is awesome.
Oh yeah,
terrific.
Chris, yes.
So I was picturing this sort of like a tabletop reading where you're all on the Zoom call at once and you do your parts. It's not that way.
No.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you
No.
record all of your lines. Suppose you're the second navigator or something. You have to record your lines for each chapter. That's it. You just read your lines and then you
Oh, okay.
upload them, and the book coordinator or the editor has to put them all together. I mean,
It's a lot of work.
a lot of
I
work.
don't imagine
Work,
it'd be a lot
but
of
it's
work.
rewarding work. It's like if you're a puzzle lover, it's great. It's like an oral puzzle.
Mhm.
What
That's a
Chris
great
says though
analogy.
is interesting. You know, it could be done now pretty simply with like a Zoom call. That people could have the script in front of them and they could just perform.
Gee.
And
Somebody
then,
The
suggested
editing
that
load
for a
would
Zoom
still be
call
the
just
same
for
because
fun.
you still would have so much variety of different of the recording qualities and the tones that
Yeah,
people have in
perhaps.
their backgrounds and things.
perhaps, yeah.
You
But
still,
it
you
could
still
be
record
fun.
on your computer and send the file, but you can
Right.
interact with the other people. I can show my
It could-
script if you wanted.
It'd be like a
Sure.
party.
Would you?
Sure.
Let's see how this works. Somebody has to put together the whole book as a script and highlight
A lot of work.
Oh gosh, yes.
So most people do it as a Google Doc, but I have a web server, so I put it on there. So I broke out each line.
Nice.
So narrator, and then what the narrator says, and Roger Manning and Astro. So it was a lot of work just splitting out the
Right.
Gutenberg text into chapters.
Wow, yeah.
And then I have a list of real, roles that are available, ones that are claimed.
Gee.
Still.
Gee.
So I've thought about doing this for about a year before I committed to it. So I had been working on that for a long time. So I went through it and I dropped it for a while, and I came back and found a few more typos and then laid it aside again and found a few more typos. So I think I have it mostly cleaned up now.
Okay.
But that is a good deal of work getting the script.
So that book is not a play.
Say that again.
No, it is not a play. It is a pulp book that was published in one of the pulp 50s magazines and collected together as a book.
Wow.
Tom Corbett, Space Cadet. Yes.
So do we have a different name for the two? I guess we have plays and then we have dramatic readings.
Right.
And a dramatic reading is from a
book.
a standard novel, say, or sure. Okay, I understand.
Exactly. Plays are like baby dramatic readings because they're only going to have, well, typically they're going to have 3 to 5 acts, and they already have a script.
Right.
So to run a play as its BC is far less work than a dramatic read, both because it's only going to be a 10th to a 30th as long as a dramatic read, and then also because you don't have to make the scripts.
Oh yes. I went to our forum. As I mentioned, we have a lot of forums from book suggestions all the way down. This one is called Readers Wanted Dramatic Works. And then once I go to that forum, you have people that suggest, oh, I want to read, I don't know, Tom Sawyer as a book or whatever, but if a book coordinator doesn't pick it up, it just stays right there. Here is play suggestions, and here is one act plays and other collections, planning thread. Oh my gosh, open. Pollyanna Grows Up. This is an open dramatic reading. Who's doing this? Let's see.
Eliza's running that one.
Eliza, whoever that is, decided to do it. She
It's a
opened
new
this up
one.
just recently, apparently.
It filled up
Oh,
very
no.
fast,
Oh,
except
a year
for
ago.
some
She opened
small
this.
parts.
I'm sorry, go ahead. Opened this up a year ago, and well, I don't see any. Oh, okay. Oh, this is how you do it. You would claim parts. How do you claim parts?
You ask for which role you want to do. So
How-
unlike a normal group project, you don't come in and say, can I please do section 50? You say, may I do Della Weatherby? And you would have all of the sections that Della Weatherby does.
Oh, okay.
So if you like doing voiceover, those kind of people will go in and look for major roles that have a lot of chapter appearances.
Mhm. Well, how
Another
are you-
thing that's really fun, I love to do hit and run bit parts. They're great breaks from intense chapters for history volumes and stuff.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
You can
yeah.
say, oh, I like this.
Now you
I
notice
like the
though.
cook wife in Rich's DR. That was awesome because I
see.
think I had like 3 lines in 4 different chapters, and boom, it was finished and it was fun.
Oh, it's
and-
everything. Okay.
Lots of people do all the rest of the work, but I got to be a part of it. So that's what I find really fun about dramatic readings and plays as a reader.
Well, you notice that
Another-
all of the parts in this one are taken already. Somebody
No,
took.
no. Go up everything that's open up above. All of these here,
No. Oh,
these
really?
are all available.
Oh, okay. So unclaimed. Okay. Jamie.
So
in
there's
chapter
even a
7,
major role still there.
a whimsical teen boy. Hi there, Jamie. Oh, wow. He has a lot of chapters he's in. Then John Pendleton.
And also to the new people in the dramatic readings, very often the BC does not expect gender to match all the time. They may want gender to match for like the main protagonist and main antagonist, and then not care at all about everything else. So Jamie may be a male character in the book, but most BCs don't care if a male or female reads it, because otherwise you get locked in to not getting your roles filled. And there are, in the older books, there's always or almost always far more male roles than female roles. So you can't fill everything. And typically that's not a concern. And they will usually say on the first post, gender neutral, unless, they'll mark on each role.
Yeah.
So those are just things
I'd like
you're
to.
not locked out if it's not your gender.
I'd like to
The question,
comment.
if you were going to claim one of those roles, would you then go in and claim, like, say, Jamie, I saw it was like 20, would you go and claim all of them then?
You just post, may I please do
You say-
Jamie?
Oh, okay.
You say reply.
And the
you say-
BC will assign all of Jamie's sections to you. Oh, plus in dramatic readings, those sections are going to move around in that magic window. So don't get in your
It's
head.
very
I have
hard
sections
sometimes.
3 through 14, because as soon as you claim that, odds are Jamie's going to move down to the other part of that MW where the assigned roles are, and he's
Like
going
way
to
down
be
here.
sections 48 through 59
Right.
or something like that. So you go by chapter numbers on your file names. It'll tell you in your first post what to name things. And so you think of things in terms of your character and its chapter, not the section number.
Okay.
Because that's a little that's a little trippy for newbies when they first start doing dramatic.
I've
readings.
volunteered for a few, and they always, the BC and everyone else has to take me by hand and help me so that I don't make mistakes. And you have to be careful sometimes of how you label your file too,
Mhm.
Oh,
because
wait a minute. I want to go back here. Okay, go ahead.
there are a couple of steps. You do your role
I know.
alone, but then eventually it gets matched into another chapter, and you don't want to overwrite what's already been completed.
Yeah.
It's not difficult for anyone else but me. So
Oh, you're not
Okay.
the only one. It gets complex.
want-
Being the BC for dramatic read is far different, more
Oh.
complex, a much longer commitment than a normal book project.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
but the
No.
project, as you said, Lynette, the final product can be really fun.
They're terrific.
Okay. I want
Rich's
to, I
book
want
is going to be hilarious. I'm really looking
What's-
forward to it.
what's going to be hilarious?
Rich's book, I can't wait
Oh.
for that one to come out. It's going to
Oh,
be
yes.
terrific.
Well, I listened to a
The
part of it,
Tom
Rich.
Corbett,
Yeah.
is he a space cadet? Is that Tom
Yes,
Corbett,
yes.
space cadet?
Yep.
Oh, great. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've heard the radio versions. Yeah, they're fun.
He and his buddy Astro, the big, I mean, they're all
Sure, right,
hilarious. Listen, I want to talk about the forum a minute with new folks, especially. You notice that we have all these new project, Readers Wanted, all these things are dramatic works is right here. But when you go like to Readers Wanted, okay, you look at the at this short myths and legends. Where's the one I'm doing here? Strangest things in the world. This is a lot of little short 100, 200 word essays about weird animals. You notice that these things here are the number of pages in this thread. Each of these is called a thread. For example, Myths and Legends Around the World, collection 14. It's got 3 pages. I have 12 pages. It's probably going to get to 100 before we're finished. But that gives you an indication of how long this sucker has been going on. Let me see what else. You can get to the last post by clicking that little thing right there. You just click that, it'll take you right to the last one. We do have collections, meaning if you want to do a science fiction story that's short, you can put it right in there. Now, the collection is different from other things, meaning you pick your story, you record it, and then you upload it. You don't have to claim it. You can find a story you like. We have, how many other collections do we have? Love
Lots.
Story. No, that's
There's several of them.
just
There's horror stories.
horror. Okay. Do we still
the
do
science fiction, the myths?
do we still do Insomnia?
Yes.
Okay, we have an Insomnia collection. If you find something extremely
And
boring,
then there's the coffee break where
Oh, the
it's
coffee
very
break. Here you
short
go.
selections,
Where's
15 minutes
coffee
worth
break?
of
Coffee
sugar.
break
Coffee.
is the one I do that one. It's this one's on vacations. We just finished 2 others on gardening and forget what the other one
So
was.
if there's a story you found that you'd like
This
to
one
do,
just got started. So as you're going through the internet and you run across a short story of some kind, you go, oh, this would be a great one to read. What collection would it go into? Would it go into science fiction? Could it go into ghost and horror? Could it be a nonfiction? We have a nonfiction collection, like if there's an essay by somebody on some topic that's, not a short story, it's actually just an essay they wrote. Or it's we got tons of them. There's just, I love all the shorts, all the collections are great because it's mystery and suspense collection. It's stuff you run across as you're tripping along and you decide you'd like to read it. There is a place where you can stick it in.
Oh, also poems are good for short readings.
say again.
There is a short poetry collection.
Yeah, those are good.
Where
Poetry.
you can, any poetry, any poem that you find, you can record it and put it in the short poetry collection. These things are ongoing. So as soon as one ends, another one begins.
That's right. So
That's a great opportunity.
So you don't have to wait for a book coordinator to take something. If you find a story that you like, that's maybe a horror story or a mystery, you can find our collection, which is down here somewhere.
So most of the
Here.
stories,
And,
we can go an hour long. So if they last, like if you have a story that's an hour and a half long or close to 2 hours long, you can divide it into 2 parts. So you can still record your story and you just record part 1 and part 2. Since each file can only be about 6 to 7 minutes.
74 minutes is where we
Is
can
it
push it
74?
to.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
okay, I'm going to stop sharing my screen.
Can I ask a question on where you just kind of go rogue and you record something and upload it? What if you're repeating something? Is there a search function on?
No.
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
LibriVox welcomes different versions of the same things. So you're okay if you submit the same short story that somebody else has done in the past, it's okay. And actually there are a couple of the poetry, the fortnightly poem, and there's another one that happens every week too.
The weekly.
It's the same poem read by different people.
Right.
So that one is not, everybody for this collection reads this poem right here.
Let's see what's going on here. Let's
So
look
you
at the
have
magic
different
one. Here it is.
interpretations, different voices, different reading styles doing the same poem.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of opportunities going on.
A lot of opportunities, a lot of styles that people like. And I will tell you that I've heard that our collections are very popular with listeners. You know, lots, people like to download one of these and they can listen, you know, whatever they're doing, they'll listen to one story after the next, different things. Let's see, here's the poetry. I know I'm scrolling too fast. I want to point out one thing before we leave. Well, no, before we leave this, do we have a new projects Launchpad, which is right here, where people, BCs, book coordinators, who want to do a story, they post it here. And an MC will come along and say, okay, now here's like Story of a Needle. These are not really open yet. They're posted. Oh, Princess of Mars.
Again, cool.
Oh, wow.
I saw that.
You can't have too much Burroughs in it. You can't have too much. I love it. Limbo by Aldous. Oh, geez, some of these are great stories. Anyway, so this is where if you want to look at Princess of Mars, you'll notice there's a little tilde in the front of the title. That indicates that they're looking for a proof listener, a dedicated proof listener, really. And if when they get one, they'll take that off, but it's sort of an advertisement. So if you're looking for something to proof listen, of course, you don't have to do the whole book. Oh wait, I'm rambling up here. I can't get back to my. I don't know where I'm doing. Oh, okay. Here we go. Stop share. I'm back in the saddle again, folks. It's 11:48. And we've covered a few topics. There's some that Mary wanted to talk about. I don't think we did. Can you refresh our memory?
Well, yeah, just one of the things that I think is interesting is some of the collections that they've recorded. And I think a few years ago it was 200th anniversary of the birth of Charles Dickens. And I think they got like everything that Charles Dickens ever did, including, notes to his housekeeper. And then they also, one of the ones I thought was really interesting, and I recorded a few, was in 2014, they did the beginning of World War I, of course, over in England and France and all that. And then at the end of 4 or 5 years later, they did the end of the war. And they had, I think it's probably under, I can't remember, it's I guess if you type in World War I, you find it. And they ended up with like a couple of volumes of poetry. And then they had fiction and nonfiction and just, things that you never thought about,
Hmm.
you know, that I never considered. It was
I never heard of that.
that was a real interesting one, I thought, because there was and I recorded a few things for it. And you know, one thing I recorded that I found was interesting was, I think it was like maybe done in 1916. It was, as people wonder, like, what happens, you know, when my son or my husband or whatever is killed at the front, what happens to the body? How are the burials handled?
Mhm.
And it was told about how that was done, and you know, how they honored the person, and you know, identified the remains if they could. Sometimes they couldn't. And it was, you know, just little things that you don't think about. And like, you know, how do you get an ambulance to the front? You know, what are the conditions where you've got to drive an ambulance to the front? One of my favorite ones was when it was about a newspaper reporter from the United States was reporting on the war before the United States got into it. And he was, as he said, he was a guest of the Germans. And one of the things they did was they invited him to go up in a balloon, and they were still using balloons, and the balloon went up, and the balloon would watch the airplanes fight, you know, fight each other. So the article was viewing a battle from a balloon.
I'm not
And it
sure
was
how
kind of
secure I
interesting
would
because-
feel in a balloon with a battle going on.
Yeah,
around
yeah,
me.
and the balloon was old technology, you know, and of course the airplanes were new. And then to talk back and forth to each other, they used telephones, and they had these big long telephone wires that, you know, stretched all the way up. You know, they
Oh my
went
God.
thousands and thousands of feet of telephone wires so they could talk to each other. And it was an interesting combination of the old and the new. That was one of my favorite ones.
Fascinating.
You know, but I like all the different collections that they've done, and they've probably, I don't think it's actually been a collection, but I imagine they probably recorded everything that Mark Twain ever wrote. You know, I know that John Greenman has done a whole bunch of his books, you know, the Mark Twain books. So
Well, we want to, how can I say, this brings out the fact that we are a collection of volunteers from basically all over the world, and we all bring to the table different interests. Dramatic readings are just too tedious for me. I can't edit like that. I mean, you know, it's not my thing. Some people do cover art. If you look at our catalog, you'll see this beautiful cover art that's great, and they do it behind the scenes. But these people have talent. Michelle has done, I don't know, hundreds. They put together, it's very demanding how they do all this stuff, but that's their talent. Everybody brings different interests and abilities to the table, and we kind of mesh together, and what comes out is like 100 audio books every month. It's amazing. Yeah, Bill, you got a comment?
And one of you heavy hitters speak to the use of government publications and documents as valid material.
I ain't a heavy hitter.
I've seen
Well,
it done.
I know a little bit about it, not a great deal, but most federal documents, I'm working on some items from that are about the Korean War right now, and they were produced by the Army, the Department of History in the Army, and those are public domain documents. However, state documents are not often in the public domain. You can't anticipate that. The federal documents are, and you can't assume that foreign documents that are from a government, a foreign government, are public domain either. So you're limited in a sense, but at the same time, you know, the United States government produces, I can't imagine, you know, all the works and documents and reports and things that the federal government produces, and some are more interesting than others, of course. That's the extent of what I know.
If,
So like
if there's,
the commission on studying Hurricane Katrina, I can't figure what they called the name of it, but that was the first one I participated on, and I live right here in the area, so that was, thoroughly, totally fascinating. And then there's all kinds of, the 9/11 Commission, that's public domain. And Tricia, our dear Tricia Griswold, she's always got a public domain government document going on.
So we don't know.
Yeah. If
Chris
there,
has a-
I just had one little quick thing, mentioning where people are from. I would be really curious if we could just go around and say where we're recording from, so I could get a better sense of.
Absolutely, Chris, you lead off.
Well, I'm recording in Thornton, Colorado.
Hey, neighbor, I'm down here in Monument.
Horton,
Oh,
Colorado.
hi.
Okay,
I'm
Rich,
from Wisconsin.
Wisconsin.
Kevin. Okay.
And your name is John Johnson?
No.
No, I'm a later immigrant into the state.
Some
I
people
arrived
put on
here
the
in
side of their
83.
posts, you can say, if you look at the person's post on the right-hand side by their post, some people put their location. I find that fascinating. A lot of people
Yeah,
don't put that.
yeah.
Where do you put Bill? Phil,
Okay.
you say, I'm from the Bayou.
No, I'm trying to do that now. No, we're both from well, I'm from New Orleans, but actually we both live in Baton Rouge, so we'll get redo, right, Michelle?
Yeah.
Okay, Lynette, where are you located physically? Where's your body?
I am in Monument, Colorado.
Well, that's right. Okay, Monument.
Monument. It's very close to the Air Force Academy.
Okay.
And it's 22 degrees today.
It's 26.
Ooh.
We're up to 26. We were minus 14 4 days ago. So
Oh, I
I'm
can
happy
beat
right
you.
now.
I'll beat you on that. I'm
Lisa?
from Minneapolis, Minnesota. And
yeah.
right now we're 12 degrees.
Ooh.
And actually that's kind of warm. We've gotten to minus 21. So we've had a few cold days here too.
I'm
Okay.
also from Minneapolis.
Hmm?
I'm also from
You
Minneapolis.
are? I live
Yes.
in Brooklyn Park. Which do you live in Minneapolis or a suburb?
I am in Minneapolis, and the Mississippi River is 1 block that way.
Oh, cool. Well, hello,
So
neighbor.
if I just jump in the river and float down, I can go and visit Phil.
Come on down.
I guess I could too.
Okay, what Bill? I mean, you don't have to tell us if you don't want to, by the way.
Bonita Springs, Florida.
Florida. Oh,
Nice.
Mary? Have we
Yeah.
covered
North
anything?
Little Rock, Arkansas.
Arkansas, good state. And Mr. Rourke.
So if you can't see what's behind me, I'm in the military. I'm in the Air Force, and I currently reside in California. I'm from Tennessee originally, and we are very shortly moving to Montgomery, Alabama.
Oh,
Okay.
Well, that's
okay.
too bad. Yeah.
I thought he was going to say he couldn't tell us where he is right
That's
now.
what I
He'd have to kill us.
Or you'd have to kill us.
No,
That
I'm
would
just
make
sort
a
of
good mystery
from
to
all over.
write.
How about you, Kevin? Where are you?
I'm sorry.
Did I not say?
You're
I-
Wisconsin
He
too?
did actually.
Yeah, Wisconsin.
Yeah.
I was
you
born in West Germany.
Is this Kevin S?
Kevin S.
Yeah.
Hey, how
I
you
was
doing?
born in West Germany.
Yes.
I'm an Army brat, so I have that experience, and I've lived in a number of different places, including Brazil. So I speak Portuguese. So,
Oh.
Sure.
so I sometimes contribute a little with Portuguese readings.
Oh, it's an
Um,
arc. I wondered whose screen was up there.
I put my screen up here to show y'all. I went to Internet Archive. This is where our library is cataloged, and this is some of the art. Like here's what is it? Who did Twinkle Toes?
Huh.
But you see, you upload a book, and then somebody comes along and claims it. Oh, here's the one I just did. Aristophanes. He's riding a giant dung beetle. That's cool. I
course.
love these. I know.
You can make your own cover if you want to, and sometimes I do, but for the most part, I just love so much to do all the BC work on something or a solo book and just
Ooh.
let the powers that be sweep it through the cover section and it comes out with a cover.
It's yes.
It's great.
I appreciate it because I tried to make covers and I realized it ain't my strong point. But look at some of these. I just recorded a group recording, which is Betsy Butterfly. And I didn't talk about that either. But look at that beautiful cover. Hot
Mhm.
darn it. Tuck me in tails. You can, our books are either collections or group or solo. Some people just want to do the whole book by themselves and it's a solo.
Hmm.
Different
And
thing.
you can choose what you want to do. Anyway, okay, folks, I'm meeting controls. How do I stop sharing? Boop. So that's it. Our Internet Archive hosts us and we appreciate that from them. Thank you all for coming. I'm going to be doing this at 11 o'clock tonight, Central Time. Anybody is welcome to
Phil,
come on
excuse
in.
me, but did we get everyone's location? Did
Yeah.
anyone else want to share? Everyone,
I
okay,
think we
good,
got
I think we
everyone.
did.
I think we
Good.
got everybody.
good.
Yeah. Welcome, Lisa and Mr. Rourke and Chris.
Thank
Welcome.
you. This
Wherever
was
you
very
go.
Very much.
enjoyable.
Very helpful. Very
It'll
helpful.
be fun to run into you perhaps.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll stop in when we're on our way to Colorado Springs.
There you go. There you go. We're just right north of the springs.
Mr. Rourke, wherever you go, remember the internet is still available. You can be a part of LibriVox, okay? Even though you're moving all over, taking care of Air Force stuff.
Right. Thanks for your
Thank you for
service.
doing that.
All right, I'm going to stop this thing. I want to again thank y'all. And
Thank you, Phil.
Thanks.
Thank
Good
you.
seeing
Thank you very
everyone.
much.
peace.
God
Okay.
bless.
Okay, bye-bye.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye-bye,
Bye,
everybody.
everybody.
Bye.